Hi, everybody. The angels came through this week with some pretty big messages about shifts and changes that we are going to start seeing during this ascension process over the next few years. So they really want to talk about how a lot of these sudden changes are going to occur, how we're going to start seeing them happening. And they want to talk about our soul's path in this process and what it's actually doing. So let's dive in and see what they have to say.
Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light?
First of all, I wanted to thank everybody who has donated on my channel. I see you, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here and all of your support. It means so much. Secondly, Intuition Club is open and I would love to have you join. It starts January 20th. We will meet once or twice a week, your choice, and I want to help you bust open your intuition and trust it so greatly that you will have the most incredible discernment. You will be so powerful as we move forward into these coming years with these shifts and these changes and everything happening. So I really want to help you get into that place. Intuition is so crucial. It is the tool that we need moving forward so that we can build out New Earth and we can step into our missions. So I want to give you tools, exercises, activities that you can use on a daily basis and get used to and trust your intuition so much deeper and really understand how you receive it so that you can receive it faster, quicker, and more regularly. And I also want you to be able to read other people's energy and read for other people, which is an amazing tool as we move forward as well, so that you can discern between energies so that you can help other people on their path. So please join an Intuition Club. This is the only time I will ever be offering something like this live. Ever. Not just this year, but probably ever. So jump on the opportunity and registration closes next week. Okay, let's get into this transmission. All right, so the angels are here. Usually when my angels are around and they have something to tell me, I'll see these bursts of light out of the corner of my eye. They almost look like lines or like lightning strikes out of the corners of my eye. So I will get that a lot and I'll know that they're here and they want to talk to me. So they have been around for a while and they wanted to bring through these shifts and changes that are coming about. So, okay. There's a lot that they wanted to share. I almost had to be like, all right, this is more for later. But they want to talk about energies that you're going to see starting to rise forward as we head into this new earth. So the first one they're talking about is telepathic communication. This is going to be huge. I actually feel like there's going to be places around the planet, specifically on water. I feel like water carries, and it's connected throughout the entire planet. So it's almost like the water molecules will carry it to the person you are telepathically communicating with. But they were showing me this vision of people out in these canoes in this water, and it was specifically to be in stillness and connect. So then you can send messages and have conversations with each other, even if you live on different sides of the country. So let's say someone lives in the US and another person lives in New Zealand, and you want to communicate and send messages more quickly or have them receive things so that when you hop into actual physical conversation, then you're on the same page. So it feels like telepathic communication, and there are going to be ports set up so that we can start integrating this. The water is going to help have bursts of this communication as well so that we can sink more into it. But I feel like if people, there might be businesses or things that are set up where you can rent a boat and go out on the water, or just go use a boat and go out on the water, and you'll be around other people that are telepathically communicating. So this could even be people who are channeling, or maybe they're communicating with other humans on the planet. But they're there to receive ideas from the water about certain things and ask questions and get activated. And then they're going to call in the energy of the person that they want to talk to. So it's like the new form of the telephone. And then they're going to send that message to that person. And then they'll talk to that person's energy body or their soul and telepathically communicate with them. And then the idea or the thing that they want to talk to them about will sink into that other person's body. And then it's like they might contact each other, or the next time you go into communication through voice or physical contact, then you will be able to be like, hey, I thought about this thing. What about you? Did you get this message? And it'll become more and more commonplace to have these telepathic communications. But I do see like the best thing I could think of is ports, these like ports being set up that are specifically there for telepathic communication. It felt really cool. And when you're around other people doing it, it also helps grow the energy. And it feels like there's something about the water that helps to spread the energy that everyone is using so it can amplify it. Okay, so as we're talking about the water, let's head to the cities. Now, the guides have brought this through before, saying that the cities are going to be a little chaotic. A little, I hesitate to even say, it feels like probably a lot. Because people's energies are going to be like bouncing up against each other, the chaos, the intensity. But they're specifically showing this aspect of the cities that more people are going to be moving out to the land. Now, the reason people are going to be moving out to the land is their energy needs room to expand, and you can't quite do that butted up in these really enclosed, claustrophobic cityscapes. So their energy is going to want to expand out. So they're going to need space to do that. So they're going to move out to the land. Now, on this land, this was so cool. This land is contracted with higher beings. So they made me feel like there are, ETs and higher dimensional beings that are contracted to work with the light workers and humans on Earth at this time. And they are geographically contracted in certain locations. So when people move out to the land, it feels like there are ETs there that have been living on the land or working with it, coming and going. And they are going to have a contract with the people that move to that land to work with them, help raise their frequency, help open them up. So you might like feel those beings there, sense them there to begin with. Maybe you would even see some ships up in the sky. And then it's like you'll go out into the land, into an open space, and you'll probably feel their energy gather around you. And they're going to want to raise your frequency, give you messages, give you ideas about how to build the land out, what you're supposed to do with it, certain places on the land that you need to go to get activated or invite people to. They're also working with the land, these ETs. And if you're a farmer, they were showing me a farm. It's like they're working with the land to make it higher energy, high frequency, so that if you grow food on the land, it's going to be so high frequency. So people are starting to use property, land, more expansive land for more specific purposes. And there are designated ETs that are working with a lot of these properties to help raise the frequency of the land, raise the frequency of the people, and it's going to be so expansive. And then it's like more people are going to come to these properties, or products that gets produced on these properties are going to go out into the world and help expand the rest of the world as well. And there's going to be this huge exchange of energy. Very cool. It also feels like at first you may not see these ETs. You might get flashes of them, maybe how I see the flashes of light out of the corner of my eye from my angels. But you probably won't see them, but you will feel their presence. And if you go into your third eye and your visual, they will probably present themselves to you there. But first you have to like raise your frequency, and you're being raised to match more of their energy and where they're at and their dimensional field. And then you will start to see them. They'll be physically there. So very cool. It's kind of like how in Lemuria and stuff, there are all types of different beings. And it feels like we're going back to that type of environment on New Earth so that we can work with all different types of beings and make this planet a more universal planet instead of one that is just for us. So it's going to be more interactive universally, which is really cool. So you'll be noticing more and more things like that popping up in the next year or few years, properties like this. I think that they're already happening, but it's going to become more and more prevalent and more commonplace. The other thing they're talking about are old world businesses. So they were showing me a vision of this bar. And on the bar, there's like, you know, the bar fly that comes all the time, the regular, and he's like passed out on the bar, all drunk. And then the rest of the bar is empty except for this one booth. It feels like of some younger people. And they just popped in, like a group of 4 friends, and they're eating the food at the bar, and it's like all fried. It's like mozzarella sticks, you know, fried chicken nuggets, and it's just like they're peeling off the fried part of it, and they're not really eating the food, but they get a few drinks. And then the bartender is there. He's also the owner of the bar. And he's like, why is nobody coming in? Like his business is just getting less and less and less and less. And it felt like he's getting more annoyed with the types of customers that do come in, because you're going to have the people who are more and more picky because they don't want to eat this like lower vibe type fried shit. And he's going to go clean off the tables from those people, and he's going to notice they just kind of picked at the food but didn't really do anything. And it feels like he's going to start getting really annoyed, but it's going to get to the point where that business is going to go out of business. Now, we think about that and it's like, oh my gosh, somebody's livelihood. We don't want that to happen. But the guides are like, no, we do, because what's going to happen is that's going to push that person into their awakening. They're going to start seeking the higher frequency businesses that exist. He's going to be like, where is everybody going? Why is nobody coming in here? Where is everybody else going? And it's not the new hottest, trendiest restaurant on the block. I mean, it could be because it might be like spiritually or more high frequency, but he's going to start going to these other places that are providing more satiation for people energetically. And then he's going to take that in, go through his awakening, him, her, whoever it is. And then that will process into a new business. So it's like that old one has to die in order for the new one to be birthed. And so we might be seeing a lot of these old world, smaller businesses, maybe bigger ones, going out of business, but it's a transformation. It's a renewal that is happening. And it's because the consumer is now seeking something deeper, is now seeking something higher. So I've been told this in the past by the Arcturians, and the angels are also saying it. I've mentioned it in another video, I believe, that the consumer is the one that is going to really bring down a lot of these old systems and old ways of being, because they're going to go through an awakening and they're going to seek something higher. So restaurants, small businesses that sell just like old world tchotchkes or clothes, things like that, it's going to start dying out because there's something new that wants to come in. Okay, this one was really cool. I want to talk about the sky. So in my last video, I think I talked about how, I'm trying to remember, there's going to be like a rainbow grid around the new earth. And it's not so much like a grid, it's like a swirl of color and energy. And we're going to it's going to be rainbow. And those rainbow colors are going to match the energies of the chakras. So it's basically like the new grid that will be around the earth. I kind of feel like it's already there. We're removing, again, we're shedding this old earth so it can give birth to the earth that's been inside this whole time, you know, like the Russian doll. So it's this rainbow sky that I'm seeing, and some of you may have been seeing it recently. I had a friend send me a video of Scotland or something like that, and the colors in the sky were like rainbow-esque. And my aunt is in the Netherlands to see the Northern Lights, and the sky was like purple and green and pink. And I know the Northern Lights are always crazy colors anyways, but it's just like, we're going to start seeing more and more of this. And this is the grid. This is the new energy grid. And it's a sign that we're moving into this new earth, that this layer is shedding. Same thing with like the 2 suns. So I feel like we had more of a yellow sun, and that's going to be dropping down as we come more into this white sun. And if you think about the color white, it holds all colors. So it creates like this prism around the earth that's this rainbow color. And that energy is there that feeds into our own bodies, and it will replenish like the chakras. And our energy is just constantly replenished. Instead of this old matrix, that was always stealing our energy. We feel drained, we feel tired. So we're going to have more energy and it feels like it replenishes our health, all this stuff. It's the whole grid system. They're showing me it's like being cleaned off. It almost looked as if there's ash on it right now. And the sun is helping to clean this off and shed these layers that are over top of this rainbow grid system. So it's almost like the earth was on this spindle. I don't know how to explain it. Or if you see like a rotisserie chicken and it's like spinning on this thing, that's what the earth was doing. And the sun is shining on it as it's getting closer and closer to the sun. And then it's shedding like this ash that's on there. It's like, it's spinning it. So it just like spins off. So I almost feel like the earth is also spinning faster. Things are moving faster. I think a lot of people feel like time is speeding up. I don't have as much time in a day, or like more is being packed into the time that we have, but it feels like things are moving more rapidly. They were showing me the earth spinning on this spindle and it's just getting faster and faster and faster. This helps with the cleansing and the shedding, but it's allowing us to fit more into less time. I don't know if that makes sense, but it seems like things are going to just start moving more rapidly. And we might move through these next 5 years, 4 to 5 years, and be like, holy crap. So much has happened. So much has taken place. Exponential growth, exponential awakening, exponential power. And we are really stepping in. That's also why I feel like it's really important to be so strong in our intuition, because as things move so rapidly, we need to know what's right, what's not, what we need to do, and just act, just move. So the intuition is going to be really important for that. Okay, so that was really cool. We're going to start probably seeing a lot more colors in the sky. Even if you're looking at the sunlight and it's shining down, it's almost as if you might see like rainbow colors in these beams of light. They're telling me that there might be prisms in the beams of light. So cool. So it feels like there's going to be more color coming on board. I wore my color today, my bright color, for this intentionally. Okay. So notice that, and you may start seeing them in the sky, even a sunset or something. I just feel like it's going to be more colorful. Okay. The other thing they're saying, and this kind of tied in with the telepathy, but they're saying the earth is going to feel more quiet. When I felt this, I was like, oh my gosh, my soul feels like it can rest. There's so much energy and noise, just even, it feels like a lot of people too just always need noise, but the energy of the earth just feels more still and it feels more quiet. We'll walk outside and we're just going to feel, oh, the earth is more quiet. And I don't know how to really explain that, but I feel like I can transmit the energy of that to you guys and you'll be able to feel it. If you just closed your eyes and was like, what does it mean that the earth is going to be more quiet? It just feels there's more stillness, there's more presence, probably because we're learning to do that. But as we raise into new earth, it's just like, oh, that's the energy of receiving. It's quiet. It's stillness, presence. That's going to be the reigning energy there. And I think that's what they actually mean by peace on earth. It's not like we got to stop the wars, we got to do all this. It's like, yes, that will naturally happen the more we raise up. But the peace on earth is this energy of quiet and stillness. And we're really going to start feeling that more and more, especially as we move out of these more chaotic, noisy places in our life, or physically, emotionally. It's just going to feel so much easier and quieter in the stillness. So beautiful. Okay, so I want to add one thing to the city stuff. They're saying that the structures in the city, how they're built, it's like man-made structures, the cement, the metal, that kind of stuff. It doesn't hold energy very well. Instead, it causes energy to like just keep bouncing around. And it just doesn't have the molecular structure to really hold higher energy. Okay, so that's why they're like, we have to go out to the land to receive like this ET contract connection and to receive the higher frequencies. Not saying you can't get them in a city, you can. There are places you can do it. But it's as if the energy that's coming in is going to be soaked into the rock, the land, and these higher natural structures that exist in nature. So if you think about some of these sacred sites around the world, like the pyramids, everyone knows that, or Stonehenge, it's like these rocks, they hold so much energy. It's a natural formation that was made by beings, but it's still in its natural form instead of this unnatural, like poured cement or, metal that's been, shaped in a certain way and has been through like, factories and stuff like that. It just can't hold the energy. So that's also why people need to go out to the land, because they can allow the energy to soak in more. All right, this one was really cool. I'm going to say this about every single one of these things that came through, but this was really cool, especially right now because I moved to a more northern state in the US and it's getting really cold. I've always enjoyed winter. I've never been someone who's like, I hate it, I need to be in the warmth all the time. While I love tropical areas or warmer areas, I do enjoy the winter. I remember in high school, the winter was actually my favorite season. So it's getting really snowy and cold here. I live in New York, western part of New York. So they were saying the freeze is so beneficial. And they want to talk about what's actually happening during the freeze. And we're going to start noticing this more and more. And the more we have this in our knowing, for those of you that live in a wintry place right now, or will be later on, just keep this in your mind. They're saying that what happens when things get really cold and they freeze over is the energy is being crystallized. So the molecules of energy that have come onto the earth are being crystallized. And just like I talked about how the cities, they can't hold energy as much, higher frequency energy, because of the structures there. But things like the rock and the dirt, the ground, it can soak the energy into it. So what's happening is things start to harden, they crystallize. And if you think of a crystal itself, it holds so much energy. You go buy a certain crystal, it's going to help you shift when you set that intention with it. And the crystals are going to be able to pull in more of this energy that is coming onto the planet, and they're going to hold it. They're going to help it transform and it crystallizes it. That's the only word I can really think of. And then when the melt happens in the spring, all of this high frequency energy that's being held in these crystals in the earth from the freeze during the winter. So it's it's holding all of this high frequency, and then it melts into the earth and expands out. The water expands it. And then plants start to grow. We start to harvest from the land, animals, things like that, and it's raising frequency. So when you go outside in the cold and you're going for a walk, I'm not telling you to go out naked and stand outside in the cold for 3 hours and get hypothermia. That's not the case. But when, let's say you bundle up and you go for a walk or something like that, or even you're just in that type of temperature, your energy is also being crystallized. But they're saying specifically, go out and be in the cold. There's something about it where it's like, I actually love going for walks in the cold. It feels incredible. It's almost like waking up my body, but your energy will be crystallized. And then when you go back into the warmth, it's going to melt in and help raise your frequency. They're saying that as we move forward and we have this information in our bodies and knowing this is happening to us and the earth, that we will stop being so sensitive to the cold. It's also raising our frequency to temperature so that these temperatures can still happen. They're beneficial to the life of the planet. But we're going to stop being so sensitive to it. So we're going to feel very warm when we're in the midst of the cold. And we're going to be raising to that point where we're able to withstand these types of temperatures. Now, if you're like, wow, I live closer to the equator, I don't experience winter, it's okay. It's not like everyone has to experience this freeze in order to benefit from it. It's still benefiting the rest of the world because, as you know, When the freeze melts, it's going to fan out to the rest of the planet. So the freeze is beneficial for everybody, even if you're not in those areas. So that's also why water is so important, because the melting of these crystals into the water, and that's how it spreads throughout the planet. So whether we drink it, we put our bodies in it, we go swim in the ocean, we're going to experience the benefits of this freeze and how it melts into the earth. So it's good for everybody. Okay, so now let's talk about the entertainment industry. I know I've talked about this before, but boy, is it really starting to shift. I'm even noticing it in my own life. This is going to start crumbling too because of the consumer. So people are going to actually start getting really annoyed, I feel like, of these typical TV shows. I have started getting this way as well. I wonder if some of you have as well. You can leave it in the comments. But I don't watch a lot of TV, but my husband and I may like watch a show at the end of the day, you know, together. And there are some shows that we've started watching and we'll look at each other and say, I cannot watch the rest of this. Like, we'll stop watching it because it feels so fabricated. The emotion in it, you can see the formulas and all of it. Also, just the characters, how they deal with situations is so toxic. It's like perpetuating people pleasing and all of this self-sacrifice. And it's just like, it's so toxic. I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. And we're going to start seeing this shift where people are going to stop seeking to numb out through TV or movies or whatever. And they're going to start seeking nature and their own connection as they awaken, which I'm sure a lot of you have experienced, and I have too during my awakening. I'm like, I don't really care. I want to know the information that's up here, that's coming in. I want to know more about who I really am. And that is going to start taking down this old world entertainment industry. People are going to seek more of themselves and this higher information, these higher stories. And because of that, this connection to this rainbow consciousness that's surrounding the planet, that's going to start infiltrating and creating new forms of entertainment. So it's going to be more artistic and creative. It's going to be characters that deal with situations in a completely different way from a higher consciousness. And there's going to be new formulas that come in instead of these old formulas that a lot of these shows use. I could speak about this more in depth just because I was in that industry and I was a writer and wrote like so many pilots during my day. But it's like there's these formulas that they teach you that you have to hit these certain marks and these arcs and these certain points in a script. And the characters have to go through, you know, this type of thing in order for people to buy it. So they're sucking you into the drama right now. They want you to get, whether it's a comedy or a drama, it's like they're sucking you into it. And it's like, it's not working anymore. So I think a lot of shows, they're going to be like, why is our viewership dropped? All this kind of stuff. And it's because people aren't seeking that type of information anymore. They want to be fed by the stuff that they watch. Probably why a lot of us, when we go through an awakening, I was this way too. I would consume so many videos. I'd go on YouTube and podcasts and things like that. And I just wanted to watch all this information that people were bringing through. It was like addictive. And I think that's why it's like we're cleansing our system of this old type of entertainment that we had clung to for so long, so that when we go back to it, it doesn't resonate anymore. So like, yay, if you're in that stage, that's awesome. You're like kind of cleansing your system and putting in this new form of craving where the entertainment comes from within you, from your own receiving. So that will then cause us to step into being more artists and creative with our work, letting go of these formulas, finding these own higher formulas to step into and these arcs that characters may go through. And then also, there's going to be entertainment that's kind of like this, where it's going to be people sharing information. I'm just going to share information and we're going to want to connect to it to have it resonate for us and raise our frequency. So it's going to be entertainment that feeds us and raises our frequency instead of pulls us down and gets us stuck in this lower plane. And we're going to see that a lot of this shift and crumbling will happen within that industry. Even the media as well. We're tired of hearing about the murders, the 50 different murders that happened on the news, you know, every night. So it's just like, there's going to be new stuff, new media and new entertainment that's coming out. And I feel like this will start to happen pretty quickly as well. Okay. This was awesome too. Like I said, I'll say this about every single one of them that came through. Let's talk about clothing and the fashion industry. I don't know why the guides love to talk to me about this too. So again, why I'm wearing color, I feel like there's going to be so much more color that is brought into the clothing industry. And the word they gave me was intentional clothing, that we're going to wear clothes like the entertainment industry, how it's shifting. We're going to wear clothing that feeds us, that there's energy in it, and it helps us move through a transformative time. Now, this goes even deeper, and I loved this idea. So if any of you are in fashion or clothing industry, take this, use it if you want, if it resonates. So I was seeing there's going to be first of all, there's going to be a lot of purging of people's closets and things like that, getting rid of shoes, clothing, jewelry, all this stuff that feels like this fast fashion, cheap clothing, darker colors, things like that. People are going to be getting rid of it. I almost feel like it might be burned. Like there might even be companies that help you get rid of this old stuff. But then it's going to be brought in with nicer, finer clothings that have finer materials, intentional, more earthy type materials that the clothing is being made with. It's going to be more colorful. And I even feel like there's going to be, you know how fashion artists, I can't even think of the term, they will have like a whole thing that they come out with. I can't even think of the terms, like a runway show, and it's all a certain type of clothing that they're creating. I feel like there's going to be clothing that's created in the same frame as this rainbow consciousness, and it'll be like certain clothings and lines of a line. That's what it is. Fashion designers will come out with a line. And so the line will be, there will be multiple of them, and there'll be certain colors, and they'll be designed a certain way in a certain fit, because it's helping you go through a transformation and growing into a certain energy. So people will purchase these clothes and they'll wear them for a certain period of time. It will help them go through a certain transformation and grow more into like their safety, their power, their channeling, whatever it may be. You're going to wear certain colors for a period of time and certain clothing that's intentional to help you go through this transformation. And then when you feel like you have reached that transformative place within yourself, you'll take that line of clothing and you may give it back to or sell it back to the company, and then they will recycle it and create like another line for it and give it to somebody else. So they might even tailor clothing specifically for you, but it's going to be a different shape and size and fit for somebody else. And then the energy of your transformation gets put into that clothing because you've been wearing it, and then it gets passed on, that information that's in there, to the next person. So cool. So it's like this new form of clothing recycling, and we're putting energy into it, and it's this intentional clothing. So there's some sort of system there that I feel like working with clothing companies, probably newer companies that are doing this, it's color, it's intentional, it's all that kind of stuff. Just like you would buy a crystal, everything is going to be so intentional. I also feel like we're just going to have less stuff. So they're saying that we need space for our energy to expand. So if you're like, well, I don't want to move out to a huge farmland property. I like the house I'm in, but I feel like we're going to do like this purging, this huge purging. I'm getting rid of everything that feels old world. Even these gadgets, they're showing me a lot of us consume these gadgets and thinking like, oh, I'll get this foot bath, I'll get this humidifier, I'll get this other gadget that's supposed to help me with this thing. And it has these gadgets that have these promises. And it's like, I'm going to get rid of them. And we're only going to buy intentional stuff. Is this actually going to help me? I think this is where our intuition comes in again. Let me see what's actually meant for me. Let me actually get a read on this and a feel on this. And this stillness and this quiet that's coming in for the earth is going to provide us the ability to be more in our intuition so that we can read what we actually need and what we actually want to bring into our home so that we can create more space. And the things that are actually there feed us. They actually help us. So again, this is why intuition is so important. So join me in Intuition Club. Okay, so the gadgets, and I feel like there are going to be more intentional gadgets that are coming out that will help us like raise our frequency, help us with health, help us connect with each other, all these different things. So there's a lot of more intentional technology coming through as well. And I've talked about that in another video. I also feel like the houses that we live in, some of them feel like really, cookie cutter, like they're just replicas of each other in neighborhoods. It's just like the same house over and over again. And they don't feel like that sturdy, actually. Like probably houses that were built in the 90s, 80s, early 2000s. It's just like, we're just going to keep creating, so we can get people to move in and make money. And it's just like, well, it feels as though we're going to start using more intentional materials to put on the walls and reinforce the structure of the house that we may live in. I also think we may open up closets. It feels like we're going to just open up the space in the homes a little bit more. It feels more like open concept, because that helps the energy come in and circulate so much better. So it feels like the reinforcing of houses that we may live in already if we don't feel called to move. All right, this is the last shift I want to talk about, and then I want to show you something about the soul and how it works. I feel like it's really going to be beneficial to understand the growth process of the soul and this ascension. So before I get to that, they are talking to me about travel. And this was really cool too. So a lot of us have been either moving around to different places, and we're probably getting rid of a lot of our stuff. So we're already in this process of shedding and doing this other process with travel. I think a lot of us might be called to travel more around the world. And probably to more intentional places, because we know that there's frequency there that we want to pick up and put into our bodies. So the travel, what has been happening is, as light workers, we've been specifically placed leading up to now through, we've been specifically placed on different locations on the planet. And we have been helping to seed certain energy there. So we have been putting energy into the planet through us just being there, through channeling information through doing what we do and being ourselves. Some of us have bopped around and traveled a little bit too. I know I've moved a lot in the last several years, but it's like we're helping to prepare energy. Now we're settling more into these places, and it feels like then we're going to want to travel to these other places where other light workers have seeded energy onto the planet, so that then we can take that energy into our body and understand the information that's there for us, even information in sacred sites and things like that, so we can start pulling that in. And that has already been placed on the planet by other beings in higher dimensional energies. And we're going to start receiving that and putting that into ourselves. And what is the purpose of this? This is how we become more of the oneness, because we're now understanding energy that other people have been through and have placed, energy that other higher beings have placed onto the planet, and we're integrating it into ourselves. So now we're a part of each other. I was just like, this is so incredible. So we're going to want to travel to these places and swim in water or see different structures or just be on the land or be in that area, because we're soaking up the information and energy that's there to create all of this connection with each other. Energetic union and oneness. Beautiful. All right, so I want to talk about this last thing real quick, which I think is going to be really helpful. So the guides were telling me, let me draw Earth real quick. So let's say, this is Earth, and we've agreed to come to Earth and have this experience here, to have a lifetime, many lifetimes here. Now, you are living a certain lifetime right now on Earth. So let's say this is your lifetime here. Okay, just this little line right here. And during this lifetime, you have certain points that you want to get to. There's like goal points that your soul has. So, maybe this is like your awakening. Maybe that was early on, and then boom, you meeting your soul group or a partner that you're going to marry or work with, boom, up here into like this new earth, like creation of a project, business, land, property, whatever it may be. So these might be points that your soul is working to in this lifetime. Okay. So then you have, other lifetimes that you've lived here on Earth that have also gone through these points. Okay. And we think a lot of times as humans, this veil is here. I have to get to this grand point in this lifetime because that's going to help everything. The guides are like, no. Yes, there is a grand point that you're getting to. This final point before your soul is like, okay, I think I'm all good. Now, past lifetimes, what we've been doing is we've been getting to understand points of understanding that our soul needed, points of experience that our soul needed. Let me see if you can see this. So these other lifetimes, it's like points of experience. This lifetime that we're in, this ascension one right here, which is this middle one, it's points that our soul needs to get to help with the ascension of the planet. So we're going through experience within ourselves and having this experience, learning, understanding, everything like that. I feel like all these past lifetimes feed into this. We're helping with the understanding and helping us get to these points. But then we're reaching this greater point of like, okay, I feel like I did what my soul came to do. And it could be I shared as much channeled information as I needed to share. Okay, now I'm just going to leave it there and people can receive it. Maybe it's I did a lot of healing. I worked with the earth and did a lot of frequency raising. Maybe it's just I made a really great bakery and high frequency food and used really good ingredients, whatever it may be. It's like, okay, I'm here to like create something or actually do or be something in this lifetime. And I'm pulling in all of the understanding from all these other lifetimes I had on this planet. And it's feeding into this lifetime so that as I reach into these points of understanding, and then I get to this greater point, which is the soul mission, I feel like. So this is a much grander lifetime for a lot of us because we're here to actually really do something in the midst of experience and understanding. And in these lifetimes, not that we're not doing something or creating something for the earth. We are, but it's just more about gathering information. Okay, so that's just Earth. Then, outside of Earth, it's like we have all these other planets in the universe. I'm just going to put little dots. It's like there's all these stars. This is our universe all around all these other things, right? Okay, so what's happening is the soul also has its own like soul lifeline. This might get a little complicated. So you have these lifelines here on Earth, but then you have like a universal lifeline. So the soul is saying, now let me just draw this. This is like the soul lifeline that encompasses all of this. Okay? It's this thick line that encompasses the whole universe. And it has these points too that it's getting through. Okay, I'm going to live all of this in this universe to get to this grander point, to pull all of this in the universe up to this point. Does that make sense? So there's this grander like lifeline that the soul, your soul has broken into all of these lifetimes, even on these planets. You have all these other lifetimes within this. And it's gaining all this understanding to pull the universe up into this greater sense of understanding. So you going through all of this on Earth is pulling up everybody, giving the opportunity for everybody else on Earth to gain the same understanding for you. And you're creating something physically and energetically here to help pull people up into this higher echelon. So then your soul has all of that experience within this, and it's saying, okay, now I fully understand peace, or I fully understand how to let go, whatever it may be. This might be considered like being an ascended master or something. They're up here to help. So it's almost like this soul grander universal lifeline is reaching this grander point. So when it reaches this grander point of like, okay, I did this for the universe. Now what's next? What do I need to go to next? Okay, I'm going to pull in all the information I got from all of this. And I'm going to say, what else do I need to understand so that the universe can understand as well? And you're going to look at everything that you've experienced in here and move into this next, more focused lifeline. It could be within this universe too. And you're just going to have another grander experience to pull up into this next point. Okay. I hope this makes sense. So everything happens on a small scale and a larger scale. Just like what happens in your personal life is also happening in society. You know what I mean? You're getting yourself out of a narcissistic relationship. Well, so is society. Getting out of a narcissistic relationship with, insurance companies, the government, whatever it may be. So the same thing, what you're having understanding and reaching these points within your lifetime and lifetimes on planet Earth, you're doing the same thing on these other planets that then feed into the rest of this. And then the grander soul universal line is using that to pull up into this higher point for the universe. And the crazy thing is that we're all probably this grander point, this soul. And all these lifetimes are being experienced from this higher oversoul that has broken into all these lifetimes and people and beings so that it can pull up to this higher point. So when we talk about this oneness coming online with the travel and stuff like that, we also have soul travel. Our soul travels to all these different places to have lifetimes and experience so that then we can feed that information to each other and pull up into this higher soul universal lifeline. Okay, before I make it any more complicated, I'm just going to leave it as that. So we have this soul, this lifetime here, and this greater soul lifeline that we're leading into, and this grander point that the soul wants to get to on this higher level. And all these shifts that are taking place is our soul reaching into that grander point. So the guides were saying, the angels were just like, we're hitting this grander soul point. So we won't need to come back and experience this thing on earth. We've understood. So really exciting that you're going to probably start witnessing a lot of these types of shifts happening. They're telling me that we're in the midst of this 20-year period. I feel like it started in 2021, where these shifts are starting to happen. It felt like 2020, I'm sure a lot of us know this, was a reset year. And then we moved into this new 20-year cycle where we're going to start seeing everything really shifting, crumbling, changing, and into this building of the new as we step into like the 2040s. So is this whole ascension process taking place in 20 years? No, but I think that a lot of the shifting and things that are happening is, and it's going to be completely different once we reach that time period. So these next 4 to 5 years is when a lot of these shifts that I mentioned are really going to be coming into the forefront, and we're going to be noticing them more rapidly. It feels like we are fitting a lot of energy, a lot, into the next like 2 to 3 years. So it's like massive transformation. Again, the earth is spinning faster, so it's going to happen more rapidly because it's just part of the process. Really cool. Okay, you guys, again, if you are interested in Intuition Club to help with this process, to help with these shifts, to help you step into this higher echelon and this higher soul line that we're on, please join so you can start mastering that and really trusting that for yourself and being able to tune in much easier. That information is below. I'm also hosting on Saturday a free intuition workshop so you can get to know it a little bit in these processes, and it should be a lot of fun. That'll be at 11 a.m. Eastern on January 11th, so 11/11, and it'll be a lot of fun, so I hope to see you there. All right, you guys, take care. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you soon. Much love.
Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming?